Hey, wake up! It's time to start the show. Glad to see you all aboard Mouse Ears in Paradise. Let's get this show rolling.
Welcome to Mouse Ears in Paradise. I am Dave.
And I'm Becky.
Aloha.
I almost thought we were having other people, but it's just me and you. Hello.
It's a short list. And of course, all of our listeners as well.
All
right?
the listeners.
Welcome.
Yes. Welcome, foolish mortals.
All right. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about some travel experiences that Becky and the rest of the family went through, some updates to the Disneyland hotels, the Disney Destiny, the Disney Cruise Line
so
upcoming ship, and who knows where else our travels will take us in this
It's really
conversation.
anybody's guess at this point.
Yes. But first, let's talk about your trip to the Midwest without me. We had kind of alluded to it in our last episode that you were going to be on Delta. You weren't sure what the Wi-Fi situation was going to be. And of course, traveling with just you and 3 kids.
I don't know why I do these things. It's like I'm slightly crazy or something. No, it's sort of a bang-up summer, I guess, in a lot of ways for us. We ended up, like we talked about, with an extra trip to Hawaii, and now this is our standard trip to the Midwest. And there were just a couple of things that were interesting that were worth noting as part of this trip that I wanted to talk about. So unless you've been buried under a rock, you'll remember that in July, CrowdStrike had an incident. They released an update. This is me talking computer talk. It's going to get really exciting. I'm either going to say something stupid, or Dave's going to be really excited.
I'll correct you if necessary.
Yeah. So CrowdStrike released an update in the middle of the night in the United States. Mm-hmm. If your computers were not ready for that update, it caused a bunch of things to crash.
Right.
Yes. Do you want to talk any more about that, or is that sufficient for the
I think
for
that's
the audience
sufficient
listener?
for the context here.
For the context. So Delta, of course, had a massive meltdown as part of this, where they couldn't get all of their computers to come back up. So essentially, they had to go around and somebody had to physically push the power button to all of their servers, which of course takes a ton of time. And as somebody who lives with someone who does servers, I know that if a server goes down, that when you power it back on, it doesn't actually always come up the way that it's supposed to come up. And so it can take a lot of massaging sometimes to get that to come up and be online. So Delta, poor Delta, they struggled. So their scheduling for their worker bees, their employees, is all done on Windows machines. And they couldn't get all their machines to come back up to do scheduling. So this happened on a Friday. We were supposed to fly on Monday, which was 3 days after the Friday. And by the time Monday got around, they were not really in much better shape than what they were supposed to. Mm-hmm. They were not back to normal at all. So we were supposed to leave for the airport, and then I actually never got an alert, but my parents must have signed up for something and found out that our flight from Minneapolis to Grand Rapids was canceled. And so we were debating, like, do we get on the plane? Do we not get on the plane? Should we go? Should we not go? So we end up calling Delta. We can't get out for 2 days. So we ended up leaving on Wednesday instead of on Monday, which was fine in all reality because we were home. Right. It might have actually been better, but don't tell anybody. It might have been better. But because we were home, this wasn't a big deal. If we had been, say, in Honolulu, this would have been a much bigger deal to us because then we would have been incurring costs. But I didn't actually incur any costs because I was home. So we didn't leave until Wednesday. By the time we flew on Wednesday, most of it was coming back to normal, but the airports were not. So I don't know if we talked about this at all, actually, but so we had one connecting flight because you can't get to the Midwest without a connecting flight. And so we flew San Jose to Minneapolis to Grand Rapids, and we get to Minneapolis with a 2-hour layover, which is honestly, with 3 kids and 1 adult, just right. Like, it's enough time to find food and, run them around a little bit and then get on the next plane. And so we went and we had dinner, and then I had promised them all ice cream if they ate dinner. And So they ate. They did a good job with that. And then we get ready to go get ice cream, and everybody's out of ice cream. Like,
it's so weird.
It's so weird. We go to Chick-fil-A to get shakes, and they're like, we're like fifth in line, and the person behind the counter is like, just so everybody knows, we have no spicy chicken left, and there's no ice cream. And we're like, no ice cream.
Wow.
Yeah, we're all out of ice cream. So then we went to the next place. We're like, do you have any ice cream? No, we're all out of ice cream. So I don't know. I mean, the Midwest, it's ice cream. It's a big thing, but
It's dairy.
It's dairy. Good. But we couldn't get any, which was really disappointing. The kids handled it well. I ended up buying up like each $5 worth of Sour Patch Kids, which I would have rather spent the $10 a piece on the ice cream. But it was kind of weird to have the airport be out of things like that, and it was like 7:00 at night. It wasn't like this was midnight. I don't know. It was weird. So, but we did make it. Our flight was massively delayed. We ended up getting in at 1 a.m, which was fine because we were there. But thank goodness we weren't trying to go someplace that was like unfamiliar. I did have to look up directions to my childhood home because I did not know. So we went through a series of events. We needed to get a cab to get from the airport to my parents' house. And I didn't know the way anymore. Like, I've lived in San Jose too long. I had to use Google Maps to get home, which is a little bit embarrassing. But I haven't.
Couldn't the cab figure it out?
No, he didn't have. I don't know. He did not enter any address in. He just waited for me to tell him where to go.
Oh, all right.
So we made it. We are safe
right.
and alive. Everything is fine.
You didn't go through your neighbor's private driveway or anything like
We
that?
did not. But I did have to reroute Google Maps a few times to get it the right way. So, yeah, that was exciting. I did want to talk a little bit about just Delta Wi-Fi experience because we had been, so we had traveled on Hawaiian 3 weeks earlier, which I found to be a really lovely experience, which is kind of weird because Hawaiian's kind of going out of business. Maybe. We don't really know. Or merging.
Or who knows?
They're supposedly not profitable, but they've been upgrading their planes with free Wi-Fi. And Delta had free Wi-Fi on 3 of the 4 planes we were on. But you had to enter your frequent flyer number and password every time to get on the Wi-Fi. So it's me and 3 kids. Every child has an iPad. I have an iPad. I have a phone. My daughter has a phone. That's 6 devices I had to enter my username and password on, which is, whatever. I guess it's fine. But I kind of feel like if everybody's going to get free Wi-Fi for being, like, they want you to be a Delta member, which is great. But, like, I don't mean, what's the point? What do you want to know? You want to know
track your travel,
what Netflix shows I watch or what I'm downloading on Disney Plus? It seems kind of silly to me. Like, do we really need to do that? And to their credit, they let you enter as many devices as you want to. So they could have easily said, like, no, you need to do 2. You get 2 devices. Right. Everybody gets 2, or everybody gets 1. They could easily say everybody gets 1, but they don't. And all the kids have their own frequent flyer numbers, but I don't have them all. Like, they're in a spreadsheet. They're not. I don't have everybody's memorized or anything like that. So I kind of felt like this was a silly thing to do. And especially now that I know another airline is doing it a different way, you kind of feel like, I don't understand. Why
is it okay for the one and not the other? Yeah, and I mean, if you didn't know in advance to have your frequent flyer mile number, you'd be in trouble potentially. Like, I don't have mine memorized. Like, it's on my computer, but if I don't have access to the internet to be able to get it, then...
Right. Exactly. So it's sort of crazy. And you can sign up, like, you could sign up immediately, simultaneously to signing into the Wi-Fi. You could get yourself a frequent flyer number, but I feel like what's the point at that point? And it's kind of interesting because I feel like managing so many frequent flyer accounts is a little bit some things are getting lost. I'll just have a true confession. Things are getting lost, Dave. So
they may not all have been accounted for.
They may not have all been accounted for. And because we often fly on miles, I don't always worry about putting in everybody's frequent flyer numbers. It turns out that could have really bit me in the butt this trip. Because Delta, as part of their CrowdStrike thing, did offer compensation, right, for people's delayed plans or whatnot. So all of us each got 10,000 miles put into our frequent flyer accounts.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
And we also got a $100 voucher put into our frequent flyer account. So, I know I had 3 of the kids, 2 of the kids entered and mine entered. I don't know if they put Annika's in or not. I need to go double check because Annika's account won't open right for me because, again, managing 3. Like, these kids don't all have their own email address.
Right.
And so everybody comes to my email address, but I think it gets confusing when they have 4 frequent flyer accounts linked to the same email.
Sure.
I guess in retrospect, I could have created everybody a Gmail account and then had everybody's...
Oh,
because
they all have actually email accounts, but...
I know. But I can't access them to
Right.
Listen, he does not let me have control of everything. But it's crazy because they all have an account with Hawaiian. They all have an account with Southwest. They all have an account with Delta, American, right? Like every airline we fly... and we're not brand loyal because we go too many different places and they don't all go to the same place.
It just doesn't work.
It doesn't work for us. So anyways, but I will put in a plug for spending the time to put your kids' frequent flyer miles in because it turns out we're going to Disneyland this weekend. And I did not realize it, but we actually had enough miles to fly for free because every child has flown enough Southwest miles that they could all have a ticket and actually buy 3 tickets to go for free. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
It was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
I had no idea
It
we'd
worked.
accumulate.
It was worth it.
It was worth the effort. So find a better system than I have. Enter your frequent flyer accounts. And if you fly Delta, make sure you bring your frequent flyer number with you because...
Yeah, really probably anybody. I mean, who knows? I don't know what United's doing these days or
Yeah, we
American
never fly them actually. But...
Yeah.
So we'll try it. We'll have to report on what our Southwest situation is. I'm sure they're still paid Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Although they were supposed to be upgrading theirs too.
Yeah. And I might pay for that one because silence is golden.
Yep. I think theirs is usually like $5 or something. I feel like it's usually pretty cheap.
Yeah,
on
it is
Southwest.
pretty reasonable. Yeah. There's one other plug I wanted to put in because flying solo with kids can be, even when you have 2 adults, or even if you're lucky enough to bring maybe more adults with you, like it sort of keeps people sane, right? Like more adults means just more bandwidth oftentimes. So a lot of times we will buy activity books and things like that to bring with us. The ones at Target you can get are really, popular where the magic marker troll thing, right? And they can do the mazes and things like that. And that normally will buy me about an hour for each kid, which is generally about enough just to break up the iPad situation. But you may not know about this brand of books, and so I wanted to put a plug out there for that, and it's called Usborne, Usborne books, and it's primarily geared at kids under the age of 13. They do have a few that are, for 13 and over, but my 13-year-old is she can entertain herself for hours if needed. But Usborne, we did end up buying a couple of those actually in the airport in Grand Rapids to come home. Just because I feel like they're similar to the brain game ones, the sticker ones where you have to put each sticker on a letter or each sticker on a number. But often it will have a little bit of writing as well as the stickers. And it's enough to sort of break things up and create just something different. And it's different for the kids. Like Drew ended up getting one that was dot to dot and then stickers. So you do the dot to dots and then there's like puzzle stickers that you put in on every other page. Emma got one that had mazes and stickers, and it's just kind of similar to highlights, but I think they're a little bit cuter. And so I looked them up. We actually have a couple of storybooks by them too that are really interactive and cute if you're looking for maybe a gift or something different for your kids. But they're worth checking out. They're based out of the UK. I have never actually, I don't know that I've seen them for purchase in store here in California, but you can buy them on Amazon, and you can buy them from their website. So Usborne activity books, take a look, check them out. It's just something different to break things up.
Cool. All right, so one of the other interesting things that came out over the last couple weeks was Disney announced a change in their hotel policy.
Yeah, this came across my screen just from MEI, and I thought this was really interesting because this is a request that I'll get from families a lot. And that is that if you want to book a confirmed connecting room at the Disneyland hotels, you can now do that. And this is fascinating to me because for years, you've not been able to do this, and it's actually kept us from staying on property.
Yeah, because the last thing we need is like 3 down or on a different floor or whatever. I don't know. Even if it's next door, but not in the adjoining room.
It's too much of a gamble for us. So you can now book in a standard category of, it has to be the same room type. So standard, not in the sense of you're looking at a parking lot, but standard in the sense that it's not a villa or a suite. You can book confirmed connecting rooms if you call into the travel center, or better yet, call your favorite travel agent or email or text your favorite travel agent and ask them to do it for you. But I think it's a little bit of a game changer. If we're going to stay on property with 5 of us, we just are not at a place that we can all stay in one room. Nobody will sleep. And we've talked about this, I think, in our last episode. So now, if we wanted to, we could book 2 connecting rooms, which is kind of appealing because everybody gets a bed surface. Everybody gets, a little bit more space. They'd probably, for me to do this, have to be running some kind of room special, which does happen on occasion. Like, I'm not going to pay $2,000 for 2 connecting rooms at the Grand Californian. That's just not going to happen. But it would come close, I think, sometimes to what the cost of a 1-bedroom suite would be. And so that would be worth checking out. And so if you are the type of person, or if you're bringing grandma and grandpa, I know a lot of people who do this. They'll bring grandma and grandpa. If they've got little kids, grandma and grandpa can still stay in one room, and you can have the connecting room, and mom and dad can escape for a couple of hours just to get out and maybe visit Trader Sam's or do what makes you happy. And then, you're not moving people around, which I think is lovely. And I think it's a long time coming. Like, Universal has had this for a while. A lot of hotels now, when you book online, you can check that you want connecting rooms, and you can book connecting rooms and know that you're getting connecting rooms. And I think for families, it just makes a lot of sense, right? It provides flexibility.
What about on the East Coast? Does Disney World provide this? They still don't provide this
right now. So
maybe they're trying it in Disneyland to see how it goes.
Yeah, and they have only 3 hotels, and their hotels are smaller.
Yeah.
So I think it's easier to manage.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a real downside. And it's interesting. They're pushing us, like at Disney World, if we could book guaranteed connecting rooms at like Port Orleans Riverside, we'd probably do that in a heartbeat.
But they're pushing us to DVC
But they're pushing us to DVC instead.
I wonder if they realize that, and so they don't want to, they'd rather people at DVC maybe?
I don't know. It's a good question. I have no idea what the philosophical, ramifications of that are. In reality, we're probably better off still booking the DVC because then you get added benefits like the extra nighttime hours, which is kind of nice that you wouldn't get with a moderate resort.
Sure. And the kitchenette and all that kind of stuff, right? So
yeah. So,
okay.
But interesting move. Be aware that might be a solution for you in your life.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly intriguing for us. So
I know.
We'll have to see if we.
I think I texted you in the middle of the day about that one. Guess what? This is a
you were
big
excited
deal.
about it. I was like, we got to talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm
excited.
Disney also shared more this week about their new cruise ship, the Disney Destiny, and kind of some of the theming around it.
Yeah, so this is going, they're going to be sailing out of Fort Lauderdale, which we could talk about that too, but beginning in November 2025. And it's going to be 4 and 5 night cruises out of Fort Lauderdale to the Bahamas and the Western Caribbean. You can start booking as early as September 6, 2024. And if you are a Castaway Club member, and then general booking is opening on September 12, 2024. I think we should book one when they go on sale, don't you?
For 2025? We already have a cruise booked for 2025.
No, it'll be for 2026.
Oh, I thought you said for 2025. So early 2026 is when they're sailing.
They're sailing in November 2025. We won't go in November, December.
No.
Maybe we'll book for February 20. You might find that there's a withdrawal.
I'll get the notification.
You'll get the notification.
Congratulations on your booking.
I think I might book that.
But yeah, so what's special about
big,
the Destiny?
Right? It's a bigger ship, so it's going to be the same size as the Wish. I really do think, like, all joking aside, so we've so far sailed the Magic, the Wonder, and the Dream. We're set to go on Fantasy in February.
We're just working our way.
We're working our way up. We might skip Wish and Treasure to get to this one at this point. Just because, well, first of all, they're going out of Fort Lauderdale.
I know, we like that.
And we like that for a lot of reasons. There's a great, like, nonstop flight San Francisco to Miami. So it makes it really easy. And there is from San Francisco to Orlando too, but it's not as economical often. It's often cheaper to fly to Miami than it is to fly to Orlando, I feel like.
We don't love Miami Airport, but...
No, we do not. But we did arrange a pickup prior to... Like, rather than just going with Uber or Lyft, having a car service that was there to pick us up it was sort of a game changer.
It was
so
a lot
I do
better.
recommend if you're going to fly into Miami, like, make sure you have somebody picking you up. But I think what's interesting about this one is, did you see the statue they're putting in?
Yeah.
It is
Black Panther.
Which is different, right? I feel like pulling not from a Disney official.
Right.
I mean, Marvel is an official Disney property. Right. But it still feels like...
Normally it's been, I feel like, the princesses or Mickey or Donald, I think, right? So, like...
It realms outside the classics.
Right. Like, would they do Vader or, you know what I mean?
Well, that would
like,
be really interesting.
Obviously, he's a bad guy, so maybe not, or, you know... But, like, would Yoda be like something that they would...
Yeah, I don't know.
So it feels, I mean, it's cool. I think it's great, but, like, unexpected.
Yeah.
And it sets the tone for some of the other theming.
It does, because on the back, they're going to put Spider-Man and the Spider-Bots.
Yeah.
Which, again, just feels to me like, oh, this is... You know what it is? It's more masculine. Like, that's how it feels to me. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. Our 13-year-old would probably be offended that I said that.
Yeah. But our 5-year-old's going to be way more excited about it.
Oh, for sure. He's going to be so stoked.
Yeah. He's going to love that Black Panther's there. Love the Spider-Man's on the back. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So the theming is heroes and villains. That's what the whole ship is going to be about. 3 dining locations. You've got Pride Land's Feast of the Lion King. I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of implies that it's going to be like the Lion King show at, Animal Kingdom, but as a dinner show, kind of like, I can't imagine it's going to be at the same scale, but, still at least the singing. Hopefully maybe some dancing and puppetry and stuff.
And I love that. Like, I love going on a cruise with you. But by 5:30 or 8:30... and sitting down in time to eat, like, I just want somebody to feed me and let me veg out for a little bit.
Entertain me.
Yeah. And entertain the kids. And I think it'll be good. I'm really excited about it. It looks fun. I bet they will incorporate some of the food maybe that they serve in Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you could have a Boma type feast with a Lion King show on board the cruise ship,
that'd be pretty cool.
That appeals to me.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's appealing about that.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what they do with the cuisine on that.
Yeah, I will too. I mean, African food doesn't really... I guess you're in the Caribbean, so there's definitely African influences, for sure. But Yeah. So it'll be cool. I'm excited about it. And then they've got, of course, Worlds of Marvel. This is essentially the new Animators palette. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's what they've got on the Wish. And so just visits from your Marvel friends. And then finally, A Taste of the Golden Age, 1923. This reminds me of the 1901 Lounge when I look at the photos.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's their fancier run, right? Like the fancy restaurant. But then they've got sketches and in nice glass cases surrounding the fancy tables. So I think it looks great. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm going to book it. I'll report back.
Hopefully I can be part of that report.
I'll tell you where you're going and when.
Exactly. I just show up.
It'll be, yeah, we'll try. We'll see. We'll see what they release their pricing at, first of all.
Right. Because they've done kind of some odd things with some of the pricing, or like only 7-day cruises, or no, it was only 3-day cruises, or they've done some weird things with some of the new ships. So we'll see.
They are going to have the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
Again, I like a 5-night cruise. We have discovered 5 nights is really, we haven't made it to 7 yet, but that's partly because like 5 nights for us, we can get it done in the 1 week.
We could do the travel and the cruise in a week.
And so if you do it to 7, because we really going across the country need to add at least 1 day on the front end, it starts to tear into another week of work. And that means taking off more time, and that makes it harder to pay for the cruise. So,
or missing school or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's just all kinds of, just gets more complicated.
It works well for us to do the 5 nights.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel too short, and it definitely hasn't been too long. So I am really excited about this boat. I'm really excited that they're committing it to Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, it'll be great.
All right, so now is time for this week's Magical Moments, where we share magical things that maybe have happened.
Magical. I don't know what song that's from, but
it's probably from at least 10 different Disney.
And I think I heard it in a fireworks.
Yeah, fireworks shows or parades.
For sure.
Some sort of entertainment, in-park entertainment. So this week I wanted to share that I went out and got some stickers for the podcast. And I'm excited about that. And I'm hoping to create magic by giving them to people at the expo. So by the time you're hearing this, hopefully you've already seen me at the expo and been able to get one. But if you would like one, you can email us at mouseearsinparadise@gmail.com, and
we'll send you one.
We'll send you one.
I think we should send them one. That'd be fun.
Yeah. So just email us and we'll start sending them out until we run out of them. Hopefully we still have some.
Make sure you give me one first. You have one on your computer.
I have one on my computer, yes.
You really committed. You committed to this.
I did.
Dave is all in, guys. All in on this.
Yeah, I was excited about it. So I've got one there, and there's one on that case over there. You can't. It's on the other side. You can't see it. So yeah.
Now you only have 48 stickers left.
And I gave one to Annika.
47. There's only 45 left, guys.
Why? Because you're going to take one.
You better run.
Yeah, so hopefully I'll be giving them out at the expo, and if we run out, well, then I guess I'll get more.
We'll order more.
Yeah. So.
We're committed. Very good. Well, I spent a lot of time watching TV and movies over the last course of flying, because flying requires watching. So I watched a couple of things that I thought were magical. So listeners might know or might not know, I'm not actually very good at a con, but I do enjoy Disney information. So I watched on Disney Plus.
Is it Behind the Attractions?
Behind the Attractions. I watched those.
I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, they're Behind the Attractions. Well, first of all, I started out with the Epcot, the new Epcot documentary, and that, frankly, was a snoozer. So much so I fell asleep because it was just a long commercial.
That's too bad.
It is too bad, because I actually really love a lot of the things they started out talking about, just about how Epcot is about hope for the future, and like how, optimism, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's about
yeah.
optimism.
For
and
sure.
I love that.
What the future can be or could
Yeah.
be.
And especially like in today's climate, there is a lot of negativity. And like, I personally have not given up on our younger generations because I work with them and I see like, no, these kids they're smart. They're not everything that everybody says that's negative. Like, there's a lot to be said for the generations that are coming up, and they're good at a lot of things. So I think I have more optimism than we often hear about in the media. But yeah, I really enjoyed the behind the attraction that I watched. I watched the one on Star Tours, which was fun. It's still gimmicky. Like, it's still...
They're a little overproduced, I think, but they're fun. They're trying to make it kind of lighthearted and fun.
Yeah, and I think if you have a kid who is like into it or into the attractions, I think they would enjoy them. Like, it's an easy thing to watch as a family, whereas like some of the other documentaries might be a little bit slow for like, it's definitely geared toward a YouTube generation.
Yes.
So we might not be the target audience.
Right.
It might not be us. So I think they do like on purpose make it that way. It reads like a YouTube video in a lot of ways, where it's fast paced or there's like little jokes or they come back to a couple of things. But it was cool. I learned things about Batuu I did not know. Like, for example, I'm sure I did know this, but did you know about how when they originally released Star Tours, it was all on film, right? Like, it wasn't on because it was a film way. And so they used a iWorks box that just like continually rolled the film to make it never touch. And so it all went all on spindles the whole way. It never went reel to reel.
So they wouldn't have to ever rewind it and do it again.
Yeah, so I thought that was really interesting.
That is cool.
And I knew about that box, but I never occurred to me that that's how Star Tours was done. And then I learned that then when they made Batuu, they went up to George Lucas's place and they got a rubbing of R2-D2's feet to get the tracks, and then that's the track that they used to go through Batuu. And if you look on the ground, you can see where like R2-D2 has rolled through when the dirt was maybe wet or whatnot. So that's from the original.
Very cool.
I think that's super cool. Like, those are little things you did not have to do that make Disney Disney.
That's the Disney touch that people appreciate.
Yeah, and I feel like that one's a little bit understated. Like, I didn't know that until this week. And now I know. I'm like, oh, that's great. And I did not know that story behind. Because it's not like when you look at those tracks, it's not like it says R2. You know, like he didn't have a Nike symbol underneath there to tell you what his shoes were. So I thought that was cool. There's just little things in there that are fun. And I don't know. I won't sit through any D23 panels because I can't stand to wait in that long of a line to get to the panel. But I can watch those and learn something here and there. And learning, you know, something about things you love is just fun.
Very cool. All right. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today's episode, but we want to thank you for listening. Get your comments and feedback. You can email us at mouseearsinparadise@gmail.com and leave us a note, and we'll maybe read it on the show in the future. At the very least, we're going to read it.
And we'll respond.
Yes, we'll respond. So don't be afraid to email us. We love to hear from people. All right. I think that's everything.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Go be magical.
Applause. Applause. We hope you've all enjoyed the show.